The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk. The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
A very, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to today's edition of the Mighty Drive. My name is Roger Stoyabwe, and today I have the humbling privilege to be able to be a part of this discussion. I am trying to also on my name add Mbappe, if that can still be possible. I want to go to the Uganda, is it registration something?
URSB, yes.
URSB, yes, to try to add one more name.
You can add the name.
To try to add one more name to my initials, because man, let me tell you, that is the goat in making. That gentleman made me proud yesterday. He's, by the way, the second man in the history of football to score a hat-trick in the finals of the World Cup. The first man was George Hurst. He's called it Sir George Hurst now.
George Hurst.
Yeah, he scored his English. He scored the England win. It was a 4-2 against, it was called West Germany back then in 1966. And that gentleman has been in that lane alone like this until the man of the season, Kylian Mbappe, yesterday scored a hat-trick. That man made a lot of us very, very proud. And I have joy in my heart. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mighty Drive. I have Kato Tumsime today, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the World Cup. How did you see it? You can comment which side you were supporting. I was obviously supporting France. I was supporting the African Republic of France. I think that is the least I could do.
Yeah, that is the support you could put on but support our pharaohs.
Argentina put up a good fight, and I think they deserved it, really. After 1986, that's about, what, 40 years or so without winning. You know, I think winning or playing in the World Cup. It has
winning. They have been
yeah, it has been a very long time. And it wouldn't really be fair to have France win World Cup back-to-back when these guys have really taken that long to win the World Cup. But also, before we get into that, I want to apologize for being late a little bit. The things get, a little tricky here and there. These are machines that they do not give you an alarm when things are going wrong. So we took a little bit to sort out some issues, and that is why we're coming in late. But nevertheless, we come here because that is a pledge we made to make sure that you understand what is going in and around us. We're going to get a little bit into the World Cup, talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the issues of national importance a little bit later. Good morning, Kato sir.
Yes, good morning to you, Mr. Rogers.
I think it is safe to begin. Which side were you supporting yesterday?
I was Team France, sure. Hey. I think I made it clear since the other time. And since the World Cup began, I was Team France.
Hey.
And I used to tell you here every day that we are reaching the finals. And France, actually, however much they lost on penalty kickouts, but they put up a very good fight.
Yeah.
But we should say that the game was an interesting game, even for those people who don't support football.
It was a historical game.
I was watching everybody's status trying to post, and they were asking, I am hearing about the GOAT. What does this GOAT mean?
The GOAT.
And it's a number of people that don't know what this debate about the GOAT was and what it was all about.
Why are you okay? Before yesterday,
yes,
were you the supporter of the Portugal GOAT or the Argentina GOAT?
Before yesterday.
Because now we can agree that the discussion has been settled.
It has been settled. But to say, I wasn't in the debates of the GOATs before.
I was.
But I was actually being clear that we have two players, the best players at the time, which is Ronaldo and Lionel Messi.
Yes.
And each player put his playing tactics. Actually, they played a different football at the end of it all.
Yes,
it was totally different. So it was very hard to compare Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi especially on how each of the players play. So that's why I didn't find it so easy to get involved in the who is the goat at the time, who is not the goat.
I got
because
involved
they play two different.
I got involved for one particular reason.
And we should agree on that point that
look,
Messi and Ronaldo play different.
Yeah, they do. If you look at it right now, you'll agree
and
that.
It's hard to compare the two people who play different soccer.
The comparison was this.
Yes.
One, I am a fan of Man United. And obviously, Ronaldo.
Me as well, I am a fan of Man United.
The man remains the goat of the game, and he was good, and by default, I had to support him.
You see, when the game ended yesterday, and Messi and Argentina were crowned the winners, and Messi actually got the golden ball at the end of it all. Most of the supporters who hate Cristiano Ronaldo said that was the end of the debate: who is the goat and who is not the goat. But to say. Messi put up a good fight for Argentina. Yeah. Not yesterday in the final game itself. Even when you consider the semi-final game.
But we had
Messi has brought up Argentina as well as Mbappe. Because if it has not been for Mbappe,
Mbappe is another league. It is totally another league.
You see to the 70th minute and there was nothing from the French team. My friend,
and those substitutes, but I also think
that was annoying.
I think the truth is, okay, first to conclude the discussion on Ronaldo and Messi.
Yes.
For me as an individual, I respect Messi because he's a natural.
Yeah, he's natural.
He's natural.
And he
Ronaldo, on the other hand, works so hard for his game.
Yeah,
he practices extra time.
That's
he puts so much effort in his game. And he plays. He plays it, but he puts in a lot of work. Messi, on the other hand, the gentleman just flows. Things just come around.
Naturally, he doesn't force.
The magic happen.
He doesn't force.
I respect him for that. I wasn't supporting him, but I respect him because now, man, the guy is good. That we can agree. As for Kylian Mbappe, I don't know.
Mbappe is the next goat. Actually,
that gentleman is
for his issue, we shall not debate on that. That's the man to watch.
Mbappe
everywhere.
But I also.
But I feel Mbappe. To bring up his football so fast and so quick, so that he can be recognized like the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, he should leave PSG to join some other team.
No,
and specifically, I would suggest that Mbappe should join Bundesliga.
You want the man in Germany? You're taking the man away to Germany, but
Bundesliga, or he can join Real Madrid and we see La Liga and. He would be recognized so fast than when he stays in PSG, and of course he wants to support his team at the domestic level. The country itself at the domestic level, his support is basically on that side. But
he should come to the Premier League. I think he will be
Premier League
at that.
Yeah, but surely.
But
we shall see so many teams.
The man is good wherever he is.
We shall see so many teams come to.
But I also I attribute France's comeback at the 80th minute after the substitution of Di Maria. That win
was a mess
deadly
for Argentina to substitute Angel Di Maria. But now the substitution of Angel Di Maria was needed at some point because you saw how he was losing on his pace.
I think,
and if you have watched Di Maria for so many other games, Di Maria is not a player who plays for 90 minutes.
Yeah, he doesn't play 90. He doesn't play 90.
But he put a good fight, good goal.
His wing was a very big effect on France.
But age is not on his side, his pace and the rest. But now to say, what brought France in the game was the substitution. When they brought in Coman and
Komavinga something.
Yes,
that
substitution that was made to remove Dembele and
Griezmann and a lot of those boys.
That was so interesting. And Thiago Hernandez. That was the whole comeback of France. The first penalty they got, that consolation goal, changed the whole game.
The whole game, yeah. It brought back the feeling of the game, man. Boys, we still have. And the boys scored 2 goals in a space of about 97 seconds.
And I feel Argentina scoring 2 goals in the first half gave them a very good comfort. And that's how they were easily defeated at the end of it all, equalized. then to extra game, extra minutes, that extra
And
was so heavy on the Argentinians. It was too heavy. But at the end of it all, we enjoyed the game.
That was the World Cup. I think that was the meaning of a World Cup.
And final. To say that, yes, most of the people actually were trying to criticize Qatar as what is Qatar going to put on that we have not seen on the World Cup.
I think they put up a good one this time.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. And man, let me tell you,
it was a good one.
I respect. I was more happy for Mbappe than I was for Messi and Argentina.
Yeah.
Not even for France, for that matter. But Mbappe.
Where I was watching the game from with the colleagues, I told them, because I had about 4 friends and they were all supporting Argentina and they were for Messi. But I told them, at the end of it all, after the third equalizer itself, I was like, even if you go in penalty kickouts, I know you are winning, mind. But it is okay now. It is okay than winning us on 2-0 as if we are not in the field to play.
I have never done betting.
But did you bet?
No, not the actual betting. No, I did not do the actual betting.
It's all betting. Whether
I was with friends. We were watching. We decided, let's go put up, a place to watch from. We had to actually hire screens and all that. Okay. It was called a Men of Valor. That's
interesting.
and one of the guys, when we first scored the first goal, Mbappe, that penalty.
Oh yeah.
The guy who was next to me was called Francis. I told him, look, Mbappe is going home with a hat-trick today. I told him Mbappe is going home with a hat-trick today. And he said that cannot happen. That cannot happen in a game that Messi is a part of. It cannot happen in a game that is a World Cup final. For that matter, I told him, you watch for the space. I ate.
But it was very hard. It was very hard because if you look at the performance of Kylian Mbappe in the first half, it was so down.
They put so much attention on him.
They were dominated, and as if it wasn't a World Cup. Because I reached a point and I was telling my colleagues, and
I was mad.
France has disappointed. This is not France on a final game. This is not France.
This cannot happen.
but to say, Martinez, the goalkeeper for Argentina, if you look at his history in his football career from Arsenal, being the second goalkeeper for over about 8 to, I think, 10 years.
No, Martinez.
And being patient. This game teaches us to be patient.
And yesterday's game was more of a life lesson than
so that you don't lose what you aim at getting at the end of it.
Yeah.
The same applies to Lionel Messi, because when they were defeated by France in 2018 in the round of 16, Lionel Messi actually had retired from the world football, from playing for Argentina. By the end of it all, people came, consoled him. Relax, come back to the team. You can make it, And at the end of it all, he's now a goat, as many call him.
He is a goat.
And he really deserved it because he put up a good
fight. But yesterday's game, by the way, they gave this, in my opinion, Martinez did not deserve the Golden Glove, in my opinion. Respectfully, in regard to yesterday's game, leave our own history.
But it wasn't. But you see, I guess.
Game, Lloris did much better than Martinez. Martinez
Lloris
got that glove for one particular reason.
Lloris was the savior also on the side of
Lloris
the French
was
team.
Different. In my opinion, after Kylian Mbappe,
because he made
Lloris should have been the next man of match. That guy put up, the guy did very well. He did very well.
But
the penalties, you cannot judge a man by the penalty. The penalties are hard to predict.
But you
and there are more chances of scoring in a penalty than in an ordinary game.
We should say that soccer also has some bit of politics. Of course, they will be favorable. They will favor the winning team. The winning team always has chances of getting the best player of the match. And
on that, Argentina did not deserve the first penalty they got.
Yes,
because that Di Maria fault wasn't really something.
It was a
penalty thing.
And maybe
not
to
in
say,
the World Cup final at least.
Maybe to say, but I think football changed a little bit when they introduced the VAR. Because before, the referee could use his reasoning and judgment and say, if it's me now in the pitch, would I have?
But it also brings more.
Would I qualify to have this penalty?
It gives more clarity
because you remember I think it was the third goal for Argentina that was almost saved down the line.
Yeah,
if it
yeah,
was
yeah,
not
yeah.
for VAR, it
From
would,
the
be,
inside.
it
But
would
it
be
was-
counted as
But
a...
it was way over the line either way.
No,
was,
it would have counted as a saved goal, because if you look at the position of where the referee was and where the ball was, it was so hard.
He was distracted,
Previously, they would
yeah.
say that was a nice save and it would be the save of the match, the save of the World Cup. And to say, I guess Martinez has also put up a good fight for Argentina as a goalkeeper.
Well,
and
he
as a
did.
captain
He
of the...
did.
No, not as a captain.
No, he wasn't. Loris was the captain.
Loris was a captain, yeah. But Martinez...
He was okay.
Yes,
he was okay.
He should be
I
given
just
the golden
think Loris
glove.
did better than him.
Should be given the golden glove.
I just think.
But as well as he
Loris
made
was
a
good.
few mistakes here and there, you saw the second goal of Mbappe. It was a
It was a
nice
very
thriller.
imagine really.
It was
yeah.
the magic. Mbappe, he put up a good fight. And
We have a Feroz Mwonge who says he was also supporting the African Republic of France. You're welcome on board, bro. Thank you so much for being with me. That man, that team is the one to look out for. The boys, those young boys, are going to do magic, trust me. And then he says, Argentina deserved the win. I agree on that. The truth is, it wouldn't be fair to have France take a win, a World Cup win back to back with Argentina.
By the way, it would be the first team
to
defend the World Cup, and
yeah.
that was history.
Yeah.
History would be made.
That would be very hard to reverse. He says, I think Qatar branded themselves very well through sports. As Uganda, our Minister of Tourism, need to do homework and find one team shot to advertise our country.
You did see some meme. Was it a meme? Was it a photo of President Museveni holding the World Cup? And people were like,
we have the World Cup.
No, most of them and the friends I had were saying that Argentina should bring that trophy again to be verified whether it is the original. Because they say
the man could have the final.
the World Cup, he would change it.
And by the way, Argentina had the youngest player on the
youngest
team,
player, yeah, Fernandez.
but it also had the youngest coach in the World Cup.
Hey,
Deschamps, that man was. Is it Deschamps? No,
he's
Deschamps. I think is for France.
He's also Lionel.
Lionel something.
Yeah,
yeah.
I've forgotten the
yeah, that gentleman, man, he did magic. As the youngest coach in the World Cup, he also did some magic. This guy and this man, Feroz Mwonge, is talking about our Ministry of Tourism and branding. I think
that's so key.
We have so much to learn from a lot of these things.
I think when the World Cup was starting, we had the normal Ugandan, who I think whether he works in the Qatar or
the dancing guy.
Yeah, who was holding his placard and service to Uganda.
Yeah,
I think Uganda hasn't invested in football, so that it can be one of the tools how it can best promote its
I think the problem...
Unlike Rwanda, and we saw President Kagame going, flying to the Qatar to watch the World Cup.
The World Cup.
And so many people were like...
that had, by the way, a lot of implications. Let me tell you, advertisement is not just about you being putting on screens and all that. It is being a part of the thing.
And it also includes some part of creativity.
Exactly. Having rather not play the World Cup, but the gentleman flying there to watch the World Cup,
and that recognition, that connections, the networking is important for the country. And the teams, it sponsors like Arsenal, Vista Rwanda. You know how many people
who came to Rwanda because of
and how many people that can come to Uganda because most of the Arsenal supporters will feel okay visiting Rwanda.
We need. I think he's right. We need to gap our game in regard to
the ministry should learn a few lessons.
To tourism, there's just so much, and just more than that, I think we need to also invest in sport. As one in employment, but something that can also even invite for indirect investment. Because when you look at most of these countries, you will see that if we were there playing, you will understand and you will agree that very likely Morocco or Senegal or Ghana is going to get something out of the World Cup, and not just because they played.
They were saying Morocco had invested about $70 million.
You see?
And you saw
how far they went,
Yes,
so I think there's also a lesson.
But as a country, Uganda, are we investing in the sports?
Do we even play in AFCON? do we play? Did we qualify for AFCON? Did we?
AFCON? No, there is.
We stopped in the group stages, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely sure about that.
No. We are supposed to pray. We are supposed to pray what? Pray Chan. Is it Chan?
The one we
The
got
one
out
that
because
prayed,
we didn't have money.
The one that is prayed by the local prayers, not the people who are praying on an international level for money out there, but the people who pray, for example, in KCCA, police, UPDF.
Except we just had Magogo say they are dropping out of the competition because the government has not given them money.
I would ask like the other fellow, where does that leave the position of a sports in Uganda? I will not put opposition. And so many people are criticizing Magogo because we saw a few weeks before that announcement that Uganda will not play in the Chad competitions because we don't have the funding to support our team. Had gifted a Range Rover that is valued, I think, around in billions of money. You understand? And people were like, no sooner had he gifted the Range Rover than he made a statement that Uganda lacks funding. Why wouldn't he invest in the club itself? Because he's the president of football. And its appearance and performance is a credit to him as a person.
Man, that is personal.
If he loves football, surely, why wouldn't
I understand.
Forego the buying of the Range Rover and actually contribute to it?
But there is so far you can go as an individual.
We need to put the human face to that.
As one person, as an individual, I think he also has done his best. Honestly speaking, he has tried to do.
With all these scandals and the rest.
We will also agree. No, the truth is we will also agree that the government as one does not mind about the institution, the football, the sports as a whole, not just football.
Yes.
The country as a whole.
Because we also saw football crying. We saw the netballers from the World Cup crying that they are funding.
I think the guys who
I think the money was misappropriated.
Yes. After playing.
And it demoralizes the players.
Yeah. So I think
after working that hard, at least they should have some token of appreciation. That
one thing I can probably talk about Magogo is that he's in a good position to be able to influence a lot of things.
But has the position worked?
I think that is only
what
ground
happens
I can,
in the football.
That's the only ground I can say he could do better than that.
But I feel.
But I don't think it is fair to say that he has a Range Rover or is.
No. Those are not my words, but those are words from the.
I had the
social media fans. Of course, they are always there. And
I don't think
we cannot forego that.
He cannot do what he on his very own.
But to say, I think Magogo is more now. Most of his time is taken by Parliament than he's concentrating on sports.
Yeah, that's
I feel that he has a lot to do in Parliament as a legislator and the committees he heads.
But he's the husband of the speaker. He needs to use that position also. There's so much he can get away with on that. You can influence for the sport. That is the ideal. That's what we feel as Ugandans. But the reality is, maybe you may find it's hard to convince the speaker so that they can add them maybe some budget allocation. Well, probably, but I just feel like there's at least more than just.
But we need to do better in sports as a country because we have a lot of talents.
First Monge and the tactical substitution from Deschamps removed Giroud and Dembele. That was a good move, yes.
Yeah. Dembele, he was Dembele.
And then he says, yes, you're very right, Council to Musim. At least they won on penalties, but not in open play.
Not in open play.
Absolutely.
And it was a good fight from France. A good one.
Absolutely.
Comebacks. Yeah, it was a good game.
And I think felt unnatural when these guys played and equalized for the third goal. I just feel like this is not normal. This is not a game that we play.
And Thura missed the very last goal, the closing goal of the game, and that was the end of it. I was like, okay.
He says we have the tourism sites. We now need to blow our trumpets to triumph so people come here. When Arsenal is playing, President Kagame is supporting ardently because it's his business deal. I agree. That is right. We are not going to churn cause of money. Yes. Because it says the Range Rover gift was personal money, not organization.
Yes, I agree. We said it was personal money, but we are just giving the views of our fellow social media people.
Yeah. He says government doesn't appreciate revenue and marketing for the sport. The reason as to why much attention and resources are invested in.
Actually, when we talk about investing in sports, General Muhozi has brought that as one of his trading marks.
by
to
the way.
invest in
Entertainment and sports.
and entertainment.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good idea.
It is a good idea, but let me ask.
But the problem that we always have is that such kind of good innovations and good support and good ideas always end in speeches
in well-wishing
and manifestos,
and
yes,
right.
and manifestos. But when these people can actually get power, we ask,
the
is this the person who was saying
totally
A and
changes.
B?
Yeah.
And
But
what has happened for them not to put up what actually they promised? That's where the issue is.
Is it, do we just not focus on the talent as one because we do not have it, or do you think the government is not caring because they haven't seen so much talent from that perspective, from the institution, that sector?
I cannot talk on behalf of the government, but my personal opinion would be, I think at some point, the government officials or the people in leadership have their own aims and objectives, what they believe in individually. Because if we see a number of athletes and how best they have sold this country, Uganda, and how they end up being frustrated at the end of it all, it is actually something that should be looked into. The likes of Cheptegei, the likes of Kiprimo, you can talk about them. When they go and represent Uganda,
and come back with world medals.
You have already seen them struggle to even get the ticket money to take them to participate in the games where they are representing Uganda.
Sometimes they have had to even fund themselves.
But then the irony is when they are coming back, everybody with flowers and all those.
We are all jubilating.
All those Pencon and Land Cruisers and the rest State House, they want to host them for a dinner.
The government people are the first to say very proud for the one of our
That's when they own them, you get.
And
I think when it happens for the first time, when it happened actually for the first time, I thought they would change their minds and have a different idea on how best they can deal with such kind of sports and how best they can sell the country at the end of it all, at an international level. Because you cannot talk about athletes in this world and you miss talking about people from Uganda.
Yeah, that's right.
You have put up a very good fight.
Generally,
but gold and bronze and silver and the rest, they have made us proud.
But also away from the priorities of government, I think talent is nurtured. So I think it would be unfair for government to say we have not seen much talent in the sports sector,
when they have not invested in nurturing it and bringing it up and uplifting it, supporting itself. Yeah. We have had a number of stadiums when an athletic goes and wins maybe gold, they say we shall build a stadium in his names, and we have seen quite a number of them and how crimping they are.
The funny part is actually the embarrassing part is that we do not
money is released and as allocated.
Things don't happen.
And at the end of it all, we shall take years and we see only
we do not have
a wooden stand and they say that's a pavilion available.
We do not have an international standard of a stadium
Uganda
to play a match. Not even East African games. Guys, we can do better than this.
And we are always using the one of St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, that's literally a personal thing. So when Lawrence wakes up and says, look, I am not giving you my pitch today, what happens then?
I think a few months back, they showed how the state of Nambole, the national stadium that we have, they showed it and you saw how it looks like.
That place is...
As people, as the magogos of this world, the FUFA president, the FUBA and the rest, those who have the passion of supporting sports and talents, surely, does it make you proud in your position? And what are you trying to do actually to save this?
The deputy speaker is a fan of a good fan of football.
Yeah,
I don't know why they are not.
He's in Vipers actually.
I don't know why they are not using that.
Vipers is in Villa.
SC.
Yeah.
I don't know why they are not using their space to make sure that sport is also looked into.
Well, that's what I told you. The ideals before they get power are different. I think when they get into power,
the before and after
their minds corrupted. Yes, are they corrupted at some point?
The Perez Monge said we need new people with fresh mind in our government under the leadership of General Muhoozi. I totally don't agree with you.
I also don't agree with him that we need fresh minds because we have had fresh minds.
We get new people time and again.
For example, the deputy speaker, that's a fresh mind, a young blood, somebody who is passionate in sports, but we wonder What have they done?
And the people are there who are actually in the sports space.
Now that
what
brings up the
government
argument.
doesn't need to do the work itself. Call the people who are experts in this area, talk to them, let them do the things. The government is not supposed to, by the way, do this thing on its own.
Yes.
It is supposed to hire the experts, let them do. The technocrats are the ones who are supposed to be doing these things. It's not government that's going to do it.
Surprisingly, all the football pitches that were in Qatar, most of them are going to be demolished. Actually, some of them are already demolished. And the investment that was put there, but Qatar has benefited from it. And I think it was what?
I think
an investment.
Qatar is, I don't think they are sportsmen really. So
And now, when Feroz talks about bringing fresh blood, doesn't that bring us now to the issue of the mindset changing that we need in this country?
I
how
think,
people view things and how best they can relate with the rest.
in my
Do
opinion,
we still need fresh blood, or we need to change
in my opinion,
who are in leadership so that we can make them what we want and they can be productive?
I think what we need to do, even well, there's also that discussion of change of leadership. That is one way, but even the other way is one. Look, what we need to know is understand what are the areas that can actually benefit a country.
Okay.
What should be our priority focuses. If you're looking at money and resource sourcing for funds and
For
money,
funds, yes, and what
I
it
think
should-
there are sectors you can look out to and invest in them. Even if, okay, you could need the government change or whatever, but even the one that is there, it just takes understanding of the diversity of the region, understanding what are things that can actually work for us. Make sure that the thing of fresh mind, we have boys who are leading most of these teams, and those teams are, by the way, doing very well.
But as
We
a
have
coun-
the Onyangos who are of this world.
but
who
maybe before you
understand
leave
the
that
sport
point,
much
as a
more.
country, have we identified a different maybe sector and say we are specializing in this because this is where our performance is? Do we have something that we identify and identifies us as Uganda?
I don't-
And we
I
say that when we talk about sports, you look in the countries and be like Uganda is somewhere.
Is one of those. No.
Do we have that
No,
one thing
no,
that
no, I don't-
identifies us as Uganda?
I don't think, because even when we had
Over twasigaliza mountain dwenzori
I
and
think-
the gorillas in
I think
in
the
Windy
only-
and the rest.
Yeah, the only thing I think we had was yes, the tourism sites, the
All the
natural
equator,
resources.
the tourism.
But even the tourism has not been paid much attention
And
to.
prioritized, yes.
Agriculture, what that we call our backbone, has not been given any attention at all. I think that is some of the problems we have. And the sport, I think we have considerably much talent to.
I should
to
say
grow,
we are forcing
to nurture.
things. We are forcing things.
Yeah,
and
we are forcing them, but I feel like if we really paid attention and invested in them, there would actually
they
be
would,
more
they would.
benefits.
For example, agriculture, because we believe that most of us here.
This one says, as young people, it's time to take charge of the affairs of our country. I think John Museveni has put up the peace, but now we need to build our country in a modern business hub, in a modern business hub for Africa. I think, yes, I quite agree with that,
Yes,
because we will agree. Some people don't agree with Museveni as an individual, but I think he has put up reasonably good security and peace for the region.
We have
At
had
least
peace for some time.
Yeah, for
yes.
quite some time, at least compared to before in history.
Compared to the history,
of Uganda,
before
he
he
has
came
done
into
quite
power,
well.
that
Yes.
was a different turmoil, and
He has
at
done
least
quite well.
we have changed.
Yeah, and he has tried to do a little bit of business here and there, but I don't think
But
he has,
bringing that
he's
peace
good
was
at
one
that.
thing. Have we maintained the peace itself?
They're maintaining. I think there's that common saying that great men are not made in peace in peace times. I think great men are made in times of wars and upheavals and all that.
That's what shapes us as men.
Yeah, I think as an individual, but for peace, honestly speaking, I will give it to him. I think he has.
Yes.
And he has maintained it. If we go to
On
the
a scale of 100,
I think I
How
will
do you
give him
score
like
him?
80. I will give him 80.
Okay.
He has considerably made his point and made his mark in that regard.
okay.
Just what we need, I think, to focus a little more on is to look at things that are really going to work at the country, because peace on itself, it is important because you can even get investors if they know that the place they are going to put
secure and the investment will be secured.
Yes, but on top of the peace, I think we need more reasonable policies.
We need infrastructure
and
that is well developed,
yes,
that can support
the
investments made, the industries, the agriculture, and different sectors, even tourism that we are even proud of. If we lack good infrastructure, for example, in terms of roads, in terms of hotels, fancy hotels that can be favorable for the tourists that come. Because most of those people are used to the 5-star hotels, and what funny and how funny it is here in Uganda, they will be given, I don't know, are they even 1-star hotels? I don't know what to term them like, but the accommodation itself, the housing.
I think we should
give them a standard.
Give them a benefits to grow, but we need enough environment and condition to nurture, to favor a springboard for them to begin and feel like there's a possibility, there's hope that we can do better. If we need to be decisive and have a direction that we are taking. We cannot always say, yes, we have security, but security, honestly speaking, is not going to improve just our economy on its own. It is one of the contributors, but it cannot move us on its own. So I think we need a lot more policies in that regard, make sure that there is a lot of things contributing to this. We need to have priority focus. We need to have a focus on investment and all that. I think our economics have not done us so well. We have good natural resources, but I think we have failed to utilize them. Make sure that they actually breed some resources, just more than having Rwenzori and looking at it and being proud of it. I think we can actually benefit from it if we put so much investment. I've been to Rwenzori myself, so but when you go to that region, even the accommodation, Kasese is quite a distance from the region.
Yeah, from them.
There are no accommodation, reasonable accommodation, to have people go there, camp there, make sure they do something like that. And we recently had, I think earlier this year, or around the mid-year, where we had the run for I think tourism run, something like that.
Around that area, Kasese.
Around the Kasese, I think that is a place we can invest in and make sure that we actually reap something. But we are going to go in for a little short break. We will come back with a guest of the day, Mr. The gentleman from the NUP, the coordinator of the region, Bigirwa. The gentleman, yes. Mr. Moses Bigirwa. He's going to be telling us, by the way, we had the NUP plan demonstrations. They said, look, our diaspora is very ready from Mr. President Museveni when he goes to the US-Africa Summit. Yeah. And he may not come back. He will do this and that. I want to understand what happened. There was literally nothing that happened. And there was a gentleman who was asking the updates on Ntoroko. I think the situation is still being sustained in the Toroko region. The security is doing considerable work in that regard. In fact, Uganda is going to send more troops to the DRC. I suspect, as an individual, this is an individual opinion, not based on any fact, that I suspect that it could be that maybe they are trying to keep the rebels away, the ADF away from the Uganda border. Possibly, I just think that is one of the things. So Uganda is going to actually deploy more troops in the DRC to fight the M23. So let's wait and see how that goes. And the event obviously is still unfolding in the region of Ntoroko, but we will be giving you updates as they come in, if anything does happen or does changes from the situation that is going on right at the moment. Let's go in for a very short commercial break. We will come back with Moses Bigirwa and we'll be going through the discussion on matters of national importance. Don't move.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digitalk brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here, Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour of the Mighty Drive. My name is Roger Studiawe, and on set is with me is Kato Tumsime and a gentleman, Mr. Moses Bigirwa, who comes from the NUP, and I think the coordinator of the Eastern region for mobilization, yes, in the Eastern region of Uganda. And he's one of those people who we have had here time and again to talk to us about a number of issues that are happening in and around the country, especially as far as politics is concerned. Now, we are going to do Uganda. We will try to sustain this. Twagala okumanya okutandikira okusokera ddala Mr. Bigirwa. Mwakuma bannayi mwatugamba wano Bukulu President agenda the moment walinyira mu diaspora. Our teams are very ready. Ayinza n'obutadda.
No, kusookera ddala kambuze ku bawuliriza abaffe nti mwasize mutyame basibo ne bannyabo mwebala okubeerako weather si nnungi naye buli omu asobodde okutambula mu ngeri ye, so tuli wano mu nsonyiwe nsuddemu eddakiika nga 4 naye enguudo zaffe ng'emuzimanyi when it rains heavily the risks of cutting roads is very high.
A disaster.
So embeera mwe tukola ki mwe tuoperatingira, but question yo gy'oleese muganda wange Rogers, that we promised you that when Museveni goes out he'll never come back. I've forgotten that statement because our chief spokesperson, other than the official spokesperson, is the president.
Okay.
And he never mentioned that statement anywhere.
Yeah, he did
in
not.
the media.
So you take it as
But the well wishers, people who want Museveni to go, as yesterday, they made those statements. Okay. Even me, I would wish if Museveni travels to US, to UK, or elsewhere, bamufunirayo netubanga tukimaze. But you see, we are fighting a hybrid dictatorship. Hybrid dictatorship, it means that he camouflages as a democrat. He has a constitution, which is a sham constitution, but it is there. Okay? He has institutions which is very weak, but they are there. the executive, parliament, judiciary, police, army, and whatever.
Okay.
They are there. So we are not dealing with the absolute dictatorship of Idi Amin. Okay? So that is the problem. So when you are in such a scenario, it is a process. So mutrusting a process jetulimu tudiringa n'omusajja nga musajja mukulu naye mukujjukuju muyaya alimba abazungu yalimba baddugavu yalimba buli muntu yenna including his family. So it is a very very dangerous creature, I'm telling you.
Nekati mukoli bijira kubozeemu with this whole, because NUP has largely called upon the West and said, look, the dictator is killing us. They're saying that, look, you should stop funding him. If anything, the least to be expected is that, because you seem to have done good mobilization in the diaspora.
Even here on the ground.
Bali bamulabisa.
Mwamulabisa.
Bali buli omu at least alina kyamanyi okugenda maaso mu
batugamba omusajja ye tumulabisiza guge mazima naye principle nakolinga he has consistently called upon the European countries and the Americans to stop funding him because he's a dictator, because he's killing people and all that stuff. But even when he went to that summit, not a single word was said about the situation here. What does that say about the whole struggle here?
No, you see, no, there was a fracas in the summit. We have our diaspora leader, actually the one who leads Boston, in conjunction with other coordinators in Washington and whatever. They did their part, they played their part. But before President Museveni set off from Uganda, he mobilized, he invested a lot. His ESO department invested a lot. Okay?
That's
because our troops were blocked by what? By SFC guys. They mobilized because they in the US. I'm telling you, in conjunction with the local authorities. Yes, obutambito bwamulabye. Mwabulabye. Ba leaders baffe badde bayingidde room to interact with him, but they were blocked. They were humiliated by SFC. Nga bwomanyi hybrid dictatorship yonna ekozesa obukodyo bungi naye kyenjagala okutegeeza abatulaba nti abazungu baba ne interest zaabwe ez'enjawulo. Kati interest ezo ogezaako okubamatiza nti you maintain it oba you have no problem with it. It's a process. Jukira ffe tiimu yaffe y'abavubuka bali batulabanga abayaaye batulaba muka military expertise. So ate nga wano mu region waliwo problem ya insecurity ng'abamu balowooza nti Mwami Museveni yagikwatiridde. Okay? So waliwo fact eyo ekolera mu advantage ya Mwami Museveni nti olwokubanga is a general. He went to Somalia, he's in Congo, he went to South Sudan, he's in Equatorial Guinea, he's everywhere within the region. So bamulabanga akyali factor ekwatiridde ka region kato. Naye ekyo tekigaanira kumukuba. Abazungu osobola okutuula nga tutudde naffe bwe tutudde wano. Naye ng'ogenda kufa. Bannanfuusi kweyo level. So ekyo tekyeyibaza jjajja Museveni nti nti olwokubanga yagenze n'ayogera oluzungu lungi yakozeho omwaka mungi nga tanalinnya nnyonyi n'ateekawo embeera. Ekyo tekimweyibaza kugamba nti ali mu bitabo ebitukuvu, because if you remember how Milton Obote was overthrown in 1971, he was in the summit of heads of state. Okay? He was there fuming a lot, but they told him, you know what? You're no longer the president. You understand? So, abazungu batwe bazanya. Fete chitumala mu maanyi nga ba players, because tuchimanyi but we yongera okupressinga this man. We can cause change and we are going to cause change.
Naye bw'oyogera ku nsonga ya President Museveni n'okugenda ne security eri ng'agenda mu eyo summit olowooza singa mwaba badde mu buyinza ne principal wamwe teyandikoze kyekimu because we prioritize security
yes
kulembeza nawe Bigirwa kenyini.
No, but how do you fear to interact with the Ugandans?
He gave this one of his biggest critic an
Namwa interview one-on-one interview.
I remember her. She's a journalist by profession.
But
and
also,
you journalists, you are supposed to be
naye kyekubuuza singa principal yabadde mukulembeze wano mu ggwanga ng'alina okugenda mu eyo summit olowooza yandigenze nga talinayo security.
Waliwo security details eza head of state ezimanyiddwa okiwulire, but if you go beyond hiring private mercenaries from US kubanga yayinza ba private mercenaries no blocking abantu baffe because yaweebwa limited number of SFC guys okutambula nabo. So natuuka eri yakozeseza over $2 million to have a colorful what? I'm telling you.
Do you have evidence about
I'm telling you.
The evidence aside, Mr.
He hired the private security firm
Mr. Bigirwa,
to guard him.
Let me put this scenario to you. For example, we have a celebration here in Uganda, and we invite, let's say, 10 presidents from across the region.
Yes.
Is it not your role as Uganda to make sure that those people are actually protected when they are here?
No, it is the Ugandan government
that invests in that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So would you say the same?
No, but
for the summit that the US actually provided that security.
Security,
that was a private security firm, I'm telling you. Black Hoppers. For us, we know them. So, I'm telling you, because there's no way the US government can provide such a security, okay, head of state azemu mirembe. Kubanga you're having extra security details. No kusinga kunsi ezimusinga ko capacity. Kiba kitegeeza ki nti there was a threat there. But threats church zireta because you were a bad leader. Yes. Chechireta threats gwala baba head of state abalala yanga kabuddeyo.
I president twamula wa street za US ngatamu. Aninga tewali ya there.
No, you can move. Ate wali yagala mayinja. Wali yagala mukube mayinja. Naye yatambula ku street yava ku airport direct ku hotel. Kuva ku hotel direct summit niwe balira ki akamere okibuga yatambula olaba ati okutambula e Kampala
ne ku White House
naye kale katuve ku security details za president olowooza ffe nga Uganda tulina kye twayiga oba kye twafuna mu summit eyo?
No, summit ezo zina interest zaazo. Kati ffe nga abali eno mu Africa abazungu ekisooka tubawaliriza buwali batulowoozaako kitono. Buli bafuna ba leaders aba implementing bye baagala tebaagala kumanya kigenda mu maaso ku muntu wa wansi wadde nga batuyamba because US weva ku Uganda tufa bufi ndowooza kubanga tetusobola kujjanja abalwadde basirimu bali wano ffe nga Uganda.
Olowooza kigenda twala kyo mukulu Bigirwa okugamba nti because sorry a little bit to cut you short because at one point in the how many years ago 1776 is it when America got independence?
Yes.
Nabo you would agree that in that period it was there was a time they were worse and they were literally depending also on aid here and there but they tried to build a momentum and build an economy that would later become self-sustaining. Well, it took time, but they had efforts in that regard. Olowooza kigenda twala kyeffenge gwango kugamba nti we are independent on our own. We can try to sustain a little bit because our Ministry of Health, literally 80% of it is funded by the US. If they stop that funding, imagine what would happen, the chaos. What do you think is it going to take fenga in Uganda and ngegwanga? Okubanga tusobola okweyimirizaawo ng'abantu ngegwanga nga tetuyimiridde ku foreign aid entirely.
No, you see, one of the celebrated former presidents of US is George Washington.
Yes.
George Washington lwaki ali celebrated era lwaki kizibu nnyo okumumenyawo because he surrendered the power peacefully. He had all the opportunity and all reason is
to
stay in power. Okay? And jukira America kumpi yali etandika butandi singa bobimanyi yakava mu lutalo lw'Abangereza yakafuna obwetwaze kwegamba nga akyasobola okukola ki okulembera n'abantu bamusaba akisigalemu but ekintu kye yakola n'awaayo power n'afuga ebisanja bye bibiri n'awaayo power okiwulidde n'atakwata mu constitution. That's why America is strong. Tosobola kuleeta president yenna n'alemera mu buyinza. Barack Obama was the second in fact in terms of popularity.
Yeah, in the US.
He was the second to George Washington.
Yes, yeah.
But he surrendered the power. And that is the only solution for countries to build their economies, stronger economies, and other factors to be worked on. Tosobola kubeera na one leader. No government ugenda kuzimba eggwanga. General Yoweri Museveni yabadde ne chance okubeera George Washington we Uganda. I'm telling you. Because yajja mu power nga ebizibu Uganda byeyiseemu abirabye. Yali alina okwansalinga that question. But kekyamulema ekibuzo kyombuuziza, we are still struggling. Naffe bwe tunajja mu power nga bwe twagala, naffe era tusaba Katonda atuyambe tufune okubikulirwa okwo tuleme kulemera mu power. Okay? Omuntu yenna alina kasita alemera mu power eggwanga liba limaze okufa completely. Because leadership, it's about ideas. And we cannot rely on your ideas for 40 years. Okitegeera kati muwana ababiri mwina byemumanyi nga nze sibimanyi nange nina ebyange byenkola ki byentegeera nga namwe temubikola ki. Yes, so naye sisobola kukwata power for 40 years nembazibikira
naye kati kakubuzeeko Bigirwa, because I want us to try to be a little bit realistic, because it seems and I'll put it to
and that is a realistic factor.
Yes, I agree. Yes. One of them, not entirely that one.
It is the primary factor.
And I'm going to put it realistically on the NUP as one.
Yes.
Because it is what you represent here. We have by and large looked at one person, at one problem, which is probably an effect, it is contributory, and we have not looked at how do we move towards a self-sustaining economy. We have not looked at how do we build a foreign direct investment base that they can come and invest here. We would agree, as much as we don't like President Museveni, that he has created some relative peace. How have we built on that?
But let me tell you one thing.
Let me tell you, to make sure that we get something.
There is no any serious investor who can come to a country which is not sure about the future. I'm telling you. Kankuwe kyokulabirako. Olaba wali bazimba Kingdom building. Yes. That land was supposed to be given to a certain investor. He was going to build a hotel for Choga, a big one. But buyagenda ku map ya Uganda what nalaba, of course Idi Amin is still popular. Abamu tebamanyi nti yafa. Agenda okulaba nga the president, he has been in power right from 1986 mpaka 2007. That is by Chogamu time. Okay? Nagambe your factor number one. This country is not secure. I cannot pour there my money. They are not sure about what next. Okay? Then two. Nawalirizi babloka ne bamuleta. Enyonyi etuuka Entebbe bweti atunula wansi. Atunulira ku airport yaffe. Ngalo enyonyezi. Nebikadde ebiri wali ku airport yakakadde. Nagamba, is this the airport we are landing? Yes. Is this the country we have come? This is their main entrance. Yes. Naga enyonyi jize waggulu tewali business.
Kati obwo obuzibu na.
Yes. Ekyo kiraga ki? One, eggwanga nga teririna solution ku power transfer. Tewaliwo omuntu asobola kulyesiga kuli investingamu. Because political stability. Okay? Teri mulongevity yachi ya president.
That's right.
Political stability erimu goodwill sitting president jakozesa to transfer power to another president. Just like Kenya. That is a stable country. Obo yagala, obato yagala. Okay? Because they have managed the process.
Okay.
Just imagine what will happen when Museveni is going. Just imagine everyone ekyo kibuzo kiri mu bwongo bwaki buli muntu kimulumya omutwe. And that such a country omuntu ali worth $5 billion, $10 billion cannot come here. Then too, how can we build our economy when the entire system is corrupt? You cannot.
Now that is a point.
Yes, you cannot. You cannot sustain the government. You cannot develop the country. You cannot build the economy. You cannot build the infrastructure of the country when the system is corrupt. I'm telling you. And that's why we are saying nti President Museveni are failing. Kubanga buli muntu we yenna asoka kubuuza ngaggawadde ntya mu bwangu. Oba oli mu office ki, oba tenanti, oba receptionist. Buli muntu anoonya office yange eno gye nnimu ngifunyeemu ntya on the shortest time possible. So with such a system, my brother, niye munagamba nti Museveni tetumwagala ng'omuntu. I'm telling you, we are not going to develop. And in the US, corruption, it's a big crime. Era bakusiba emyaka gyotamanyi ki. Actually mu China bakuwanika kuki? Ku kalaba. Cuba bakuwanika kalaba. Ensi zonna ezistruggling okuzimba their economies. Bakuwanika buwanisi kalaba. There is no debate about corrupt officials. But here in Uganda, a corrupt official is a celebrity. I'm telling you, if you are in the office of the government, no matter ko mwaka nga toina sente, bakusekerera. Even the community, Gamusa Bigirwa Moses banna. No.
Bigirwa boyogera corruption.
Yes.
Era pro corruption bojogeddeko gitaddeko mukulu Museveni nga president w'eggwanga. Naye tulaba ne opposition leaders or members balina positions of influence.
Yes. They have used them.
And most of them katwogere ne ku parliamentary level. The committees they head, their role is oversee the rest of the public officers. Ate there are issues of corruption nazo ze bazenga bogerako. Olowooza fenga opposition naffe n'abakulembeze abalala tebakoze ekyamanyi nabo kwongera corruption.
You see, corruption is not fought by opposition. Because you are not angels.
Because they are also leaders and in positions of influence.
Corruption is not fought by the opposition, I'm telling you. World over. Corruption is fought by those who have the power and influence and authority.
The whole thing of opposition, I would think, that is to put up the checks and balances of the government.
We have done that.
And when we talk about government,
yes,
opposition would ordinarily be that it checks the government, because that is why it's there to tell them that, look, we have gone astray here, can we get back on track? And this is how we can do ABCD. So if we have, because one person who leads a committee, there is a whole lot of line behind them. There are ministries. There are ministries. There is a sector that comes behind them.
We did that long time ago. But the system, the whole system, you see, powers is disembera yoddala to execute, or to prosecute, or to enforce laws. Ziri mu mikono gyaki? Ja president. Parliament makes recommendations. Is referring to executive. So it's upon the executive to implement in their own way. But Parliament, as far as opposition is concerned, we have come out with the proposals, with the recommendations, with the findings about corruption, and the file ends there. Because we are not the implementers. So, Sebo yagala tukole tutya.
No. Bigirwa totwala speed.
Olaba twakunye omukyala w'entebe. Omukyala w'entebe n'akaba.
Actually recently bakava mulonda akulire airlines. In Africa. I think is it Africa? Yes. She got a very big job.
Sinagoberera story. But can you imagine someone who is incompetent according to our standards here in Uganda? Because we found out that she's incompetent. She's not qualified academically. She lacks experience as far as the aviation business is concerned. But you know, Parliament exposed her. But the president, for him, he maintained that Yamulonda because his father was a revolutionary. That is it. So mweye mbera je tukolera mu Uganda wange tusaasire. Nti tetusobola ku enforcinga bye tuba tuzudde. So tusobola kubireeta bulesi ne tubikubaawo oli omukulu n'abiteeka mu nkola oba n'atabiteeka mu nkola. And that's how hybrid dictatorship works. Ebafuula nti namu mumunenyezebwa temukoze. But when you have played your part, okitegeera omukulu n'atakola ki n'atabiteeka mu nkola. So fenga bannaUganda, fenga National Unity Platform, we are not scared. Tetwamenyesa emitima olw'okubanga Mwami Museveni yagenze mu America. Tekitumala mu maanyi ekyo kubanga twali tulabyeko abakulembeze abagwa era nga bali mu maaso g'abazungu. Naye ffe tukyayongera okukola mobilization yaffe eya buli lunaku.
Ekibuuzo kyange kye natandikiddeko tanawakiddamu. Tulina bye tufunyeemu nga Uganda.
There's nothing. Ng'ogyeko area ya HIV. Because HIV wano ali funded by US okusingira ddala. Over 80%. Be batuyamba okutuwa ARVs and other medications. Naye in terms of democracy, in terms of human rights violation, in terms wano bikyagenda mu maaso because omukulu wa wano it is alleged okusinziira ku intelligence yaffe nti ayina MOUs yasayininze endala eziwaayo ebintu bingi nnyo mu Uganda wano mu maaso g'abakulu bali. So for him to stay in power, he had to surrender some national resources. Yes, we are yet to find out.
I don't have facts to that.
And when you find out,
yes,
you should
we are
come
yet
and
to
tell
find
the
out.
viewers.
We will come back here and
Yes,
ask you
yes.
what that. But
Before you come in, Rogers, sorry for cutting.
It's okay.
I have heard on a number of occasions, and most coming from the opposition figures, blaming the government on A, the government on B, the government on C. But we have people from the opposition themselves who are elected in government positions and leadership positions. Don't they form part of the government?
Like
that
which
you
positions?
Blame? Like MPs, they are honorable MPs.
So in your understanding,
Are they not part of the government?
They are part of the government. They are part of the hybrid dictatorship. That is true.
Yes.
But in your understanding as a journalist, which powers do you know an MP have?
But MPs do legislation.
After legislating.
They do the budgeting. It is all part of them.
No, budget
the oversight of a role.
No, budget is
oversight
initiated.
role.
No, I'm telling you.
Is a part of a member
National
of parliament.
budget is initiated by the executive.
Debated by the members
Debated
of
by
parliament.
members of just debating. You know?
Debated, it is passed by parliament.
How can 100 MPs really block the passing of the national budget? They cannot. I'm telling you, because parliament is determined by numbers. If you don't have numbers, don't waste people's time. Okay? But the other role of the oversight role, we have played that role, as I said before. Because mubichi gwetutajeyo. Look at the saga of Namuganza and whatever. Namuganza and the speaker. Okay? Eva kutaka lyawa lyenaggulu. Yes. It was Senyonyi who came out with that word. That report that that land was illegally transacted. So, if we tugukoze ogwo, but ochoddamu ekirala, can that land be transacted without the knowledge of president?
That one I don't know. Maybe if you have the information.
It cannot. At least to the best of my knowledge, erinkana awo bunene mu kibuga wakati tiwaliwo weritundibwa nga Mwami Museveni takola ki nga tamanyi. So we have played our part, but the position we are holding like MP Machindye, can you imagine? Taina na buyinza, taina na busobozi busobola kujja ku police kusabira police bond. That is how weak our MPs are. He cannot secure you a police bond.
We makinde yawa east over
Even Yoweri Para, I'm telling you. No one but a municipality. The MPs, they are just, yes, they are part of government because it is an arm of the government. Yes, but they cannot do anything. All the powers, the executive powers, the authorities and influence are in the hands of the office of the president.
Kati kankubuzeeko mukulu Bigirwa. Ono mukulu kato yakubuza ke mabega konti fair as a country. What have we gained from the whole US Africa summit? By the way, Africa as a whole was given what, $55 billion?
About 45 billion, something like that. I think
it was about 50 or 55.
Yes.
Naye, and when I asked what do you think we can do, especially about corruption and to grow, to spark our economies, you cited long stay in power, which is quite debatable because a lot of African countries, Ghana is one of the young democracies, but I wouldn't say their economy is doing well. What do you think as a region? Because even when we go to these platforms, we seem to each one to be going individually, which does not usually yield results. But there are some countries when they debate as a bloc, chibayambo kubanti there is some milestone je tukavaringa kubanga at least there's so much interest at play. So olowooza nga Africa yongemu also tusobola tutya okusparkinga this thing. Ne president of Ghana, Nana Akufo, was calling upon his fellow African presidents to stop being beggars. But most of them cannot run economies if they are not begging. So what are we going to do to stop begging and generally as a whole?
No, the question, the question is about leadership. Another thing you can address. If you want to address African problems, you have to address the question of leadership.
Governance.
Without that, I'm telling you. And countries njalo kukakasa ensi ezigenze nga zirwanyisa ekintu ekyo era ziprogressinga. Okay? Wano kumulirano waffe wano Tanzania and Kenya. Those are the best examples we can use. They have answered the question, the political question, and they are progressing economically. Much as they have other challenges here and there, but at least they are progressing.
It's a work in progress.
Yes, they are not like Ugandans. For us, we are still stagnant. Tetumanyi chiddako. You understand? Omusajja yewola sente we have cases like sente z'abalwadde b'akafuba nga baminister baziti. You cannot find such cases in other countries. In Africa, not even in Europe. In South Africa, you cannot find such cases. In Ghana, it is not possible. In Kenya, it is not possible. Sente z'abalwadde b'akafuba, sente z'abalwadde b'asirimu, oli n'azirya. So, lwaki yazirya? And if you trace the case, it goes up to State House. The First Lady was involved. You understand? So
it is alleged.
It is not alleged. It was proven beyond reasonable doubt. Yes. And other ministers were detained and interdicted because they wanted to confessing and the first, because by then the First Lady was the minister for Karamoja.
I think that's why he came to the education.
But she was involved in that transaction of Sente Zabakafuba, the Gavi funds and whatever.
Was he a minister by that time?
We have cases. We have cases.
She wasn't.
We have cases. Mpitiri venye za corruption wano naye nga ziva ku leadership. If you have a strong leadership, if you have a leader aine gwanga lye ku mutima, abantu basobola kuzanya ba officials ba government basobola kutwala sente za mwiwa musolo awatali kubeera accountable. I'm telling you. Naye je tunamala ebbanga lyonna because Yoweri Museveni byakoze abikoze. The reason why abazungu baleta ekigambo presidents and it has a limit, it is because you can be a strong man in a certain area and you can be a weak one in another area of administration.
Yes.
Yoweri Museveni corruption tagisobola. netumwongera emyaka 8 tagikola ki tagisobola but alina byasobodde era byetuli mubalirako alina byasobodde okukola ng'omuntu okitegeera kubanga tewaliwo leader akola gadibenga lyegeerere but the question of longevity, the question of corruption n'ebirala ebyo bidistortinga his credibility ebbanga lyonna so sinza kugamba nti as African we are going to do this. As African, we have to answer the political questions of our countries. Then there, we shall progress to another level of building our economies. Because just let me give you an example. Singa President Museveni yakoma 2 Besigye n'akwata. Besigye could come in with other ideas. For example, building public health ya amaanyi because that is his professional. Okiwulidde twalibadde kati obwongo bwa Besigye twabusubwa and siraba bwakola ki siraba bwagenda kuyambira ggwanga kubanga obudde bulabika bumukoze eki bugenda omusajja akyalemedde mu ntebe akuze ate ba player abalala bangi bakola ki bayimajinga Besigye yali badde akoma 2016. That is his 10 years.
10 years, yes.
From there ne tuyingira omulala. Okiwulidde singa Uganda my friend singa Uganda tuli ku level ndala 2021 just imagine if Kyagulanyi is the president. Okay? As an artist katugambe ndi kale interest ze zali mubadde mukutumbula talent. Not even entertainment alone. But talent because talent is a big industry.
And tourism altogether.
Yesterday we are watching World Cup finals. That is talent. How much was involved in that project since it started? Billions and billions of dollars. Okay? So if you have a president who has that idea of promoting sports and whatever, that is a plus to a country. But obadde okimanyi nti president wa FUFA Magogo, okay? Yagamba nti under 23 ya Uganda tegenda kusamba World Cup because we don't have funding.
Recently Nechani yagambye tebagenda
tugenda ku withdrawing because we don't have
the money
funding. Naye nga yakadonatinga apartment za $500,000 to his wife.
Those are personal property.
Yes, personal property. No, he donated an apartment worth $500,000.
Katezo tugambe ti yazija ku sentence
alimawa gwomaji
abadde akola abadde president honorable member of parliament aina ne business
gomayo mbaka parliament aino busobozi obuzimba ka apartment kemitwala atano eja dollar. I'm talking about 1.7 billion Uganda shillings. Yes. For me I have the evidence anyway. So nga tuli mweyembera mukazi wera yakamudonatingira a Range Rover of $800 million but Uganda Queen is taina funding.
Naye namudiza
kubana yeye country we are in. Muganda wange mutwa wayinza okuba mu musandu wa mupiira mulungi nnyo nayo such a leadership nemuzibikira.
Yeah, that I agree.
Yes, because we are talented as Ugandans.
Ale tubadde tukyogerako wano nga tunaba kujja mu Bigirwa looking at the facilities that could support talent development. Ne state gye zirimu ona turaze producer wafa turaze ekifaananyi kya Nambole kisawo ky'eggwanga.
And it is not the priority of the sitting government. You understand? That project was funded by Chinese. Ochitege nakati bakyatubanja. But look at it.
Look at it.
You understand?
Yes,
we cannot even host African, I mean,
Sekafa.
Cha mulindwa. Private infrastructure. You understand? Kakati mweyembera ngoma yabumanya nti it is not the priority of General Yoweri Museveni to promote sports. And sports is a big industry. You understand? Ensi zirwana okubeera nti ziqualifying for World Cup kubanga it is a big project. Kubanga sport weba ya amaanyi oba ogenda ku employing abantu baki bangi. Just imagine Gorozario ni Messi employing abantu bameka.
Yengo yogerange abadde supporting agenda.
No, nze ndi mu France nze. Mbadde supporting France ndi musajja
wa supporting Mbappe.
Not Mbappe ngomu, but for me I appreciate France because France as a nation you're accepting Africa and we exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
we
agree.
exist. And if you look at the lineup of France, it is purely Africa.
Only 2 people are white.
Okitegeera. So sobola kuva ku nsinga eyo. Okitegeera.
Feroz Mwenge, thank you so much for watching. He says, NUP needs to bring policy shifts that can really expose the government weakness, but just politicking will not help.
A policy of what? On what?
No,
On what you are suggesting, actually, mbadde njagala mbubuuza kubanga mu bigambo byo Mwami Bigirwa agambye President Museveni ne government balemeddwa to fight corruption. And as a national unity platform, a party, the biggest opposition political party now, that is looking at taking power, for example, 2026. Mumina plan chi on how best can we fight corruption
you are
in this
pushing
country.
us to act like a presidential advisors.
No. But our viewers, like
I'm telling
Feroz
you,
said, you should give us your strategies.
For us, we have one policy. We are fighting a dictator.
And what next?
What happens after fighting the dictator?
After the falling of the dictator, we shall take over and we provide leadership.
I think, yes. Let me tell you, Mr.
But that kind of argument.
But the leadership
which
you
policy
want,
are you having?
But the leadership you want is supported by people.
Because you want us to bring we have policies on, because we had the manifesto.
Yes.
We have all documents which are necessary.
So let us now highlight on the issue of corruption.
But I'm telling you, we cannot act like a presidential advisors.
Yes.
This is our policy. you bring it on table. They copy it and they move on.
Ordinarily,
they move on.
But the idea,
you understand?
When they copy such a good idea and it is implemented, for example, fighting against corruption, are we not benefiting as a country?
They implement fagala. You understand? So, kyenjagala okubategeeza tewaliwo kibiina mu Uganda wano kirina brilliant ideas ng'ezaffe. Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Yeah, ideas in
Let me give you an example of public policy. I mean on public health.
Yes.
Mu campaign yaffe gye twalina.
Okay.
For us, tuba kukwata buyinza. Our public policy on health care, it was going to be buli government official.
Yes.
District mwava bwalwala gye bamujjanjabira. That was going to be our policy.
Okay.
Bigirwa Moses, I come from Kamuli. If my wife, she's going to give, to produce, over to do what, over she's sick, over myself. Malira Walim, Kamuli General Hospital. Why? Such that I can fight hard to amplify, over to improve on the system of that facility.
Because you would have understood what it is going to
because nange bwe ndwala gye nkola ki gye ngenda twayite tugenda kukkiriza muntu yenna kufuluma ggwanga bwagenda agakaani sijui agenda mu America wagenda kumujjanjaba. That was no. So look at that policy, my friend. It can benefit each and everyone, but is it applicable to you, to these guys of NRM? They cannot. They cannot implement it because they know for them they are catered for. Baliba wananchi basigaleyo nga nabo bakola ki beyiya. So that is one policy.
Naye kiro kiri kubakulembeze bonna bawa NRM oba opposition.
Ffe twali tugenda kiteeka mu nkola nga ssebo nga bwendwala malira Kamuli.
Kati kankubuzeeko mukoleje. That was your idea as the NUP. But we have seen almost all the NUP leaders, they have not put that in effect. Even because we are
we don't have power.
Actually, here is the first
we don't have power.
First way to Mr. Bigirwa. For you to come as government, because you are now government in waiting, for you to come as government, for me to give you my vote the next year, I want to see you do what you say.
Under what circumstance?
Under any circumstance. That when you say, on your manifesto, that when we come, a leader must be in their area for healthcare, like you just said.
Yeah.
Most of the people we have seen in the NUP, Bubarwada.
Until we have seen Rwanda Museveni. We have seen Rwanda Museveni's policy.
What you're promising us.
No.
In other words, you're saying, do as I say, not as I
Rwanda Museveni's policy. And that is it. If you have some money, you go to US.
Be different.
If you don't have, You can die.
So are we any different from the people in government themselves?
For us, we are different.
Regime?
And if we are given a chance to serve this country, we shall make a difference. Yes, I'm assuring you about that.
Where you cannot go to the hospitals when you are not in power, what happens when you get the power and you control the whole resources? Let us be realistic.
No. That is our policy, because you talked about policy.
Yes.
Okay? Let me give you another policy which we had about education.
Okay.
First finish that.
About education, one, twali tugenda kukwata amasomero gonna agali private getumanyi nti bananyinigo sente baziba bubi mu government tugafuule gaggwanga. Okay? Then two, tudire buli mukungu yenna wa government abaana bo balina kusomera mu masomero mu district mwova. Bigirwa Moses.
Wouldn't that be limiting?
Limiting what?
Because if I have my resources, I am at liberty to take my things wherever I want.
Limiting what? Why are you leaving facilities?
No, I am
Okay, that was their policy.
I am proud.
That was our policy.
We are supposed to scrutinize
yes,
these policies.
Ngovo jikubamu ebituli ng'okikubamu ebituli. But ife nga twagala Bigirwa Moses batabanyibo ne bawalabo bagende wali ku Kamuli Girls ne Kamuli Boys. Primary. Secondary bagende ku Busoga High. Kamuli. Okitegedde. Basome n'omwana weri. Gwe beere ne Kampala obe sente zo olye biki byonna naye ng'abaana boozadde basomera eri gy'ova. Then olyoka otegeere nti okutereeza amasomero gy'ova kikulu.
Feroz Monge says, in a democracy like in the US, where the NUP leaders usually go, the contestants in an election have policy which they communicate. For example, what's NUP policy on immigration, health, school, debt financing, borrowing, and the environment? Kati wakogera ku health na education.
Ayo sijja mu
immigration. What debt financing? Kubanga kati Uganda tuina amabanja
tuli kwa 8 trillion Uganda cedis. Yes. National debt.
National debt.
And we lose 2 trillion every single year to illicit financial flows, money laundering, counterfeiting. We lose more than 10 trillion to corruption every single year. The period year COVID.
So you can highlight all that policy
no, so mukulu yabuzize ekibuuzo naye ansome.
Debt financing.
Alinga atamanyi yuga. Asooke yeebuuze twatuuka tutya ku bbanja eryo. Era ebbanja eryo lye tulina reflectinga ne investment ku ground. Okay? Definitely it is not.
Yes.
So kiba kitegeeza ki nti tuddayo ku question of leadership and political question. Je tudda buli kyoyogerako kyonna kisibira wali mu leadership.
Naye kati ebbanja already weeriri.
Ebbanja weeriri twalirya tutya. Era ye omukulu oyo nga tanatubuuza policies ezo ye alabayoko ekintu ku ground eyo ekyakolebwa mu sente ezo.
Finawe kubo
ye kyakubuuza
kubo lyakusolooza
ye kyakubuuza kyekyo nomukulu nti ebbanja tetuganye weeriri. It is true that the money has been mismanaged.
Yes.
That is a fact we do not
contest.
Our thing is that as a government in waiting mwabagala okujjawo dictator, which is your fight, your struggle. Bwe mubeera muze, how are you planning on bringing us off that track?
No, for us one osooka kutereeza nkolagana ya ggwanga n'amawanga gakubanja. Okitegedde? Kubanga Uganda waliwo yatuuka abagagga bonna in 2000 banks zonna ku international level zaali zitubanja zaatusonyiwa in 2000 because we are entering another millennium, another century. Okay?
Yes.
So netuddayo ku zero. Zero debt. As of 1st January 2000 we were on zero what? Zero debt. Now njagala omukulu oyo yeebuuze from there up to today byatutawukako bityo kubanga tulina ebbanja module eyo. Kakati efuba tujja ekisooka osooka kutereeza nkolaganayo ne institutions ezikubanja mu America ne mu nsi yonna ne bali abagagga abamala yedda it is very easy okusonyiwa ebbanja. Okay? So we can use that strategy nti bannaye fe tuze mu government naye ebintu ng'emubira mutusonyiwe busonyi oli omusajja sente yali andye sente yali andye mukkirize tutandike bupya. And indeed, General Museveni sent yaliandie.
But that is not how it works. You don't come and hope on the mercy of the other person.
I'm telling you, omusajja sente yaliandie, kyovula batubadde tumulwanyisa. They can wave because
now they are fighting to borrow us. The US and China all fighting.
Yes, they are all fighting to borrow us. And now you say that they forgive you.
Chinese ebyaba China birala. Chinese for them their interest is different. These are the people who impound national resources of different countries, airports, what lakes. Chinese, they are not investors at all. Never mention them about investment.
Actually, okay, well, that's another discussion for another day. We cannot begin it right now and finish it.
But Feroz says that as we almost come to the conclusion, that another thing is what can NUP do in their small capacity that adds to the national growth. For example, they performed well on repatriation of Ugandans.
Yeah, they tried to do that.
Yes, that was a good one. But we need more hands on and fundraising for affected communities. People need to feel the opposition in their lives. Repatriation.
Repatriation nabanja jingiramu.
Namwe ne mujireka.
You understand? Nabanja jingiramu ne bagiteekamu ba bloggers, you know, abatalina na idea wadde, abatamayi kigenda mu maaso, abalala bakuba ekyeyo ne kibalema ne bakomawo wano ne bava organizing ekintu. But we are helping our sisters and brothers who are stuck in Arab countries. So futwakola ogwaffe. Okiwulidde? Era tukyagukola because they are still there. But mwalaba response ya government yo yajana politics to the extent nti bateekawo ne CMI desk wali eri ku airport.
That's right.
Yes, to scrutinize those who are coming.
Those who are coming, you know.
You understand whether they are true or false. Can you imagine? Gobochi balowooza nti futwizo pakira abantu tubatwala eri ne tubakomyawo. Tekisoboka. So abantu bafe abali mu power tebalina gudu kwegamba tebalina gwanga ku mutima. Ne bogamba nti oleeta alternative policies to counter them, you cannot, because debate eri mu field teri ku eyo level eya intellectualism eyo ku debating policies and whatever.
Tujifuule.
Tosobola. You have the Prime Minister who is Nabanja. Alinga mutimbi wa bipande. She's a fanatic to General Museveni.
That's a bad.
No, it is not a bad. She's a fanatic. You understand? She's a campaigner. She's not an administrator.
She's a member of the NRM. So
she's not an administrator.
Of her?
You understand? She's a fisherwoman, as the appointing of authorities stated it clear. So, in such a scenario, because that is the person who leads the government in parliament, okay? Kakati, ogenda kolachi, are you going to debate with her?
We will try.
Oyagala mpuuga ajjeyo oluzungu lwonna ayogere ye kiki atayogedde. We launched the legislative agenda as opposition. A lot of issues were aired out. Tukimuvingisiza kuga bintu bingi naye intellectually you cannot have them, because for them they are just playing politics of NRM, politics of
just like NUP is only playing removing.
So for you accuse us of having hooliganism. Okay?
I think they are both reason. But I think they are both sides.
Naye temwagala kutunula side zeri okiwulidde. So ze ndowooza nti nga tumaliriza as a country buli muntu yeetaaga okureflectinga alabe gye tulina okugenda. Otherwise lutakola ekyo buli muntu is a suspect. Buli muntu is a suspect. The difference is time. Yes. era njagala okumaliriza nga mbasaba buli muntu agende yefumiitirizeemu alabe kyasobola okukola mu kutwala eggwanga lino mu maaso. Naye nga kyembasaba ekisinga obukulu kya mukkirize tugatte amaanyi tulwanyise obwanakyemalira buve mu Uganda, buli muntu ajja kufuna emirembe.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is Bigirwa Moses for you, the coordinator, secretary for mobilization. Mobilization. I don't know if it's the same as coordination, but he's a secretary for mobilization.
Coordination, it is in people power.
Hey. So he's a secretary for mobilization in the eastern region of Uganda from the National Unity Platform Party. We are so glad to have you today. Thank you so much for speaking to us about a number of issues. The thing with discussions is there are always different theories and opinions at play. But we are glad that you came here and talked to us about a number of that. We hope that
I'm going to quote it right now.
Maybe before we can close the show, you should maybe give some advice to the people who are going for festive season.
Oh yeah, yes.
Especially with this increasing road accidents.
Yes, abantu bafumwenna mbagaliza amazaalibwa amalungi aga Mukama waffe Yesu Kristo, naye era ne mbasaba emazaalibwa oba Christmas is mazaalibwa. I am a Christian, but sometimes politics yantwala nnyo okitegeera. Mbagaliza amazaalibwa amalungi, naye mbasaba abalina ebidduka muvuge bulungi. Abalina ebidduka temufa kuwa motoka yekka. Owa pikipiki gwe oba osinga okubeera careful. Kubanga owa pikipiki gwe bodeyo, gwe bode y'entambulayo. Anything, you are dead. So muvuge bulungi baganda bange ne bannyinaze. Tosaasaanya ssente bbira mupango kubanga Christmas etuuse, kubanga January tuyingira ate mu school fees. Tusigale mu budget line yaffe gye tubaddemu, mu mbeera ey'obugigi gye tubaddemu, tusobole okutuuka gye twagala okutuuka. Abaana tukuume abaana baffe, abaana abato bali mu ka holiday, excitement ebeera y'amaanyi nnyo mu season eno. But let's try to limit their movement such that we can safeguard them. Kale mbagaliza olunaku olungi ne Christmas eno. Kyemanyi tugenda kuddamu okusisinkana ku Boxing Day thing. That is next Monday. Yes, if God wishes. Okay, nice time.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you can have yourselves a very good morning.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.